Let's check in with Joseph Lindsley in Ukraine. I wish Joseph Lindsley would name that biased journalist and the publication who he works for. I believe in freedom of speech, but as Joseph said, the journalist's writings influence people's thoughts.
Joe. Little fucking Joe Lindsley.
Joe Lindsley is quickly becoming an American treasure in broadcasting.
Welcome to Ukraine Bank.
To Ukraine we go, and Joseph Lindsley. And Joe, I imagine with what's going on in the Middle East and that drone strike in Jordan that killed 3 servicemen, the talk has turned to that war. And I know that's frustrating for you because you've still got huge problems, and Ukraine war rages on. What's the latest?
Hey, Bob. Good afternoon from Kharkiv. And I'm standing right now in the ruins of one of the third attack from last Tuesday. And so later when we post it, you'll be able to see the video of where I am. If you go to UkrainianFreedomNews.com, and I mean, right next to me, I see 3 what used to be automobiles totally melted. And you just, see the remains of these cars. I can't even tell what kind of cars they were. And behind that is what was one of the most beautiful and historic buildings here in the center of Kharkiv, university building, and it's missing a couple floors. You see the building which was blue is now blackened from the smoke, and this was where one of the missiles hit during that attack. It was at 10 o'clock p.m. Tuesday night, and I remember I spoke with you last week from that coffee shop just at the end of the block, the coffee shop that was still serving their customers fresh coffee, fine filter coffee. Mere hours after this attack. But this is a reminder of sort of the barbarism that Ukrainians face, especially in a place like here in Kharkiv. And as I talk to you now, I'm in this total war zone. And then I look to my right, and there's traffic on the street. There's people walking. There's many boarded up windows, but there's shops, and life is continuing. And, I think this is a couple of things I think here is, one, if, for example, the United States would send Patriot missiles to a place like Kharkiv, this could be largely prevented. Russia would not have the ability to send so many missiles here before there's even some kind of warning. But instead, the U.S. has chosen to send enough Patriot missiles to protect Kyiv, but not to protect cities like this on the front line. And that is a big question. Why not? The typical argument for people inside Washington is that they're afraid of, always that word escalation. But if you stand here, I don't know how you get much more escalated than these cities that are being wiped off the map piece by piece. And during my time here, these past couple of weeks in Kharkiv, I'm always speaking with people about why they are here. And last night I went to a little gathering of what you could call sort of the intelligentsia of the city. And it's not intelligentsia like you might think, in sort of, like Paris or something. It's because everyone is working for victory in different ways, whether they're in the military or as civilians. And one of the people that was there posted on Facebook this commentary. Yes, living in this city of Kharkiv is crazy, dangerous, frightful, and yet so desperately needed. To live in Kharkiv is to be in your place because you want to, because you need to, because you don't want to leave, because you don't want to leave it alone. To live here is to feel in the heart every day so deeply as if you cannot wake up in the morning. Every moment here is sincere, real for all 100 or 200,000 people who choose to be here. To live here is to do what you are destined to do with the people who also decide to stay and to be around. It is every day to feel your path coinciding with the vectors of others, of the movement of others. It is to go with them to some unattainable goal, even knowing that not everyone will arrive at that goal. And this is really the feeling I get there every day. And I was talking at that gathering last night with a girl in her 20s who she had been living in exile in Spain and, living a nice life in Spain, treated very well. And she felt so bad there in a nice environment that she came back not only to Ukraine, but to Kharkiv, to her hometown. And as she said, if we left this city, the Russians would occupy it. They would take it away from us. And so, this is another type of front line in this. It's people who, simply by refusing to leave this place physically, they refuse to surrender. And this is so, it's a funny thing. Like if more people just left the city, then it would be abandoned and it would become another Bakhmut. But the fact that even in this sort of intense fear, and I feel that, and everyone feels that here at any moment, even as I stand here outside, because today's a cloudy day, so you have no warning. You can't see any missile incoming, and that's the Russians are just pounding the city at random, and so it takes this kind of crazy, wild courage for everyone to be here. But there's also this amazing solidarity, and this is the Ukrainian graffiti artist from the city, whose name is Hamlet. He's kind of Ukraine's Banksy, except everyone knows who he is. And he painted on one of the boarded up windows of the coffee shop around the corner this idea that in the twilight you can hear something that is otherwise unknown. And the idea being that on a bright sunny day, when everything is normal and calm, it's actually hard to see the essence of things. Your mind takes in too much. But it's in these dark moments, the moments on the edge of darkness, where you can actually see the essence of things, what is true and clear. And I certainly see that with sort of the integrity of people. You can really see, who is strong and what really matters in these horrible circumstances. And so I hope by reporting from here and standing here, it can send some message to the world that, even if you're afraid of evil, it's possible to stand up to it. It would be a lot easier if the West would send more weapons. But meantime, I don't see the people here giving up.
And that reminds me of this text I'll share with everybody now. I wish Joseph Lindsley would name that biased journalist and the publication who he works for about how hopeless it is for Ukraine. That's what this journalist wrote, as Joseph told us. And then the text goes on to say, I believe in freedom of speech, but as Joseph said, the journalist's writings influence people's thoughts. They're listening to your messages, Joe.
This is good, and I, of course, cannot reveal that name. But this is why it's so important to be in a place and to take time to be there, not just to zip in and zip out, but to listen to the people and to really understand their courage. And so many of those journalists are in the circles of the foreign elites and in the circles of Washington and Brussels, and so they hear that chatter, but they don't hear this incredible spirit on the ground. And this is, for example, the BBC and other media over the weekend had a big story. That it says Ukraine has uncovered major arms corruption. And indeed, the security services of Ukraine several weeks ago uncovered there was people were making deals, people based in Lviv were making deals and taking extra money. And it was a theft of about $40 million in U.S. value. But it was not. So the stories and the headlines made it sound like American dollars are being stolen because they converted everything to a U.S. dollar figure, but actually it was Ukrainian hryvnia that was stolen, domestically. It wasn't American dollars being taken, and the problem was fixed. We think of every nation has significant corruption, and look at, the money that Washington claims it spends on Ukraine, billions and billions of dollars. Most of that stays in Washington. It goes to American businesses, and this is the old trick of Washington, to say we're spending money to solve the problem. Meanwhile, it's making some people very rich in the U.S. and never coming here to Ukraine. So there is this, funny business with numbers and everywhere around the world. But the highlight is on Ukraine because Ukraine is really focusing on rooting out this problem. And so you can read, like, for example, the BBC's account of it. You read the whole story, and it just pushes this idea what the Russians want the world to believe, that this is somehow the most corrupt country. Forgetting about the corruption in Russia or U.S. or anywhere else. And so that's a difficulty Ukrainians have. As they clean this up, they always get punched. But again, as I stand here in these ruins, it's remarkable to see. As I stand here, I can hear the sound of that missile that hit, Bob, because I wasn't very far away. And it was, it doesn't leave your system. And that's in the soul, imprinted in everyone's mind and memory here. And still here they are carrying on.
Unbelievable. I hope that wasn't an air alarm I heard in the background there a couple of seconds ago, Joseph.
No, I hear some music somewhere.
Like that's better.
We're all right. Although I went running today, and my soundtrack was air alarms because they're going on and off throughout the day. And the thing here is, I mean, it is literally Russian roulette, and the air alarms don't really matter because usually the strikes happen when there's no alarm.
Well, when the day comes, and I hope it comes sooner rather than later, that you can return to the United States, I hope you get to Chicago because I want to take you to this modern Ukrainian restaurant that just opened in Chicago. A couple of well-known chefs by the names of Johnny Clark and Beverly Kim, the couple behind Parachute, opened up this restaurant, and they say it's offering a fresh take on Ukrainian cuisine, like an assortment of, and you know about this food, I know, kakuski, including sunflower and seed hummus, trout road tarts, along with duck borscht and herbal vodka infusions. It's at 3472 North Elston in Chicago now.
Wow, it sounds amazing. Well, it's that's a good act of solidarity because the culture is important, and that's one thing that Russians are trying to erase from memory, not just the physical cities, but this whole culture and this culture of freedom and their traditions. So I hope people can go to that restaurant and support, keep the culture alive wherever it might be. Yes.
Let's see. I didn't give you the name of it, did I? It's called, what is it? Oh, Anelya, Anelya, Anelya. And I would pray for the day then that our staff here at WGN can take you there, Joseph. Be well, and we'll talk tomorrow.
Thank you for introducing Ukraine on your social media pages. That's very important that much more people can get more information about the situation here and how everybody can help Ukraine to stay stronger and to save all the world.
Что он сказал?
Well, which side are you on?
На чьей ты стороне?
Come on now. Oh, which side are you on?
На чьей ты стороне?